DC here. Hi guys and gals, and it is Monday, and Monday, as you all know by now, I try and do a few tags, and well, it's nice. I'm out walking a little bit. What might happen though is I might not be able to do tags for a couple weeks. It really depends on the situations, because we will be off in Canada for my mother-in-law's funeral. So yeah, we'll be kind of taken up, won't we? So anyway, I just finished doing Jasmine's tag, and now we're going to be taking on Dave Nicholson's last Saturday 7-question tag, and they look like pretty heavy questions this time. Hi Dave, hope that you're well, and I'm going to try and get through this. Okay, so let's see. Question 1. What is the difference between falling in love and being in love? Well, I think that probably the first simple one is that, falling in love usually precedes being in love. So it brings you to, usually brings you to being in love. Falling in love also has, falling in love has a lot to do with emotion, with sentiments, with hormones, with that electrical shock. Being in love is much more deep than that. It's a state of mind. It's a way of living. It's almost a moral code. Being in love will make that you will do things that you need to do, and so on. Being in love is something that is meant to be, I was going to say, much more permanent, and certainly much more binding. So there you are. That's probably, in a nutshell, some of the differences between falling in love and being in love. Question 2. Who do you think stands between you and happiness? Who do you think? Not what. The question says who. So, who do I think? Probably me. Again, define happiness. If I ask the question to some people I know, they'll probably mention the name of another person. It almost touches the first question in a very perfidious way. But anyway, very often what stops me from being happy is my own attitude. So yeah, very often the who will be me. Question 3. What is the difference between innocence and ignorance? Well, ignorance is very often ignoring, not being or not trying to know. You're not supposed to ignore the law, which means, in other words, you should know about it. Innocence is in a sense that you cannot know about it. For example, a child can be innocent because it's not in their capability or their cognitive possibilities of knowing about a certain thing. We're not talking about good and bad here, because you will see that children actually know pretty quickly about good and bad. So, but innocence, I think innocence is something that very much will not do, you could not know because it's impossible for you to know. And ignorance is you ignore, basically you do not do it. You do not know it, but somehow you know. I'm trying to find an example, thinking like, for example, of speeding or any law. Like I said, you're not supposed to, as we said, you're not supposed to ignore the law. On the other hand, you could be driving and you're in town and you know that you shouldn't be driving 100 kilometers in the town. So you're definitely not innocent because you know that, but you're certainly ignoring. And are you ignorant because you were talking, and you were just speeding? It's, depending on the situation, it can actually be complicated. So I've spoken a lot to say nothing. Okay, question 4. What is the simplest truth that you can express in words? The simplest truth. God. 5. What gives your life meaning? You can see me coming, can't you? God, family, friends. Yeah, that gives my life meaning. Question 6. Can there be happiness without sadness, pleasure without pain, and peace without war? Well, probably the answer to that would probably always yes, but it's a relative thing. So the reality is, for most of those things, is no. I mean, how do you define happiness without having known sadness? You will know that you're happy, but will you know the measure to which you're happy without knowing what sadness is? It's like love. You might love somebody, but do you realize how much you are loved or in love without being able to measure it? What was the other one? Pleasure without pain. Very much the same thing. But again, it doesn't have to be physical pain. It can be emotional pain. It's a relative thing. It doesn't have to be great pain, but your pleasure will be measured, in respect to what is the contrary, And peace without without war. Is that it? Yeah, peace without war. Well, sadly in today's, I was just going to say almost sadly in today's world, it's pretty difficult to say that there is no war, right? And is peace absence of strife? Well, if it's absence of strife, I guess that it's not peace then. It's just the way you live. It's but if you're living in peace, that means that you know that you are living in peace. And how do you know that? Because there's absence of strife. Now, war, well, I guess war we could say is strife on steroids. So, yeah, I guess in a way, the answer finally is that. You have to kind of measure one against the other. It's like a moral code. Truth is measured because it's based on a moral code. Yeah. Okay, let's leave it at that. And where am I? Oh, probably getting up there. I can't see because of the glare. Coming up to 10 minutes, I just saw. Question 7. What's the one thing you'd like others to remember about you at the end of your life? we've answered that not too long ago for something very similar. And, you know, aside from close family, family members and close friends, nobody's going to remember me. But for the others, well, I'd like them to remember my smile and my, back to question one, I think, or something like that. I'd like them to remember, you know, the nice person. I'd like them to remember the person that loved them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I guess that's it, yeah. So that'll be it. DC signing off, and thank you, Dave, for another relatively challenging set of questions, and we're up to 11 minutes, so I really better get out of here. DC signing off. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.